Alright guys, we're adding water right now to a GE washer. There's a model number on this guy. And the complaint on this, you will hear shortly. Washer's trying to agitate. Now this is a small load. Motor, belt, everybody's hitting the bottom, and it's going to get even worse. Alright, so the mode shifter is actually disengaging. It takes a second before it stops. And I'm going to show you what to do instead of changing the shocks. On these GEs, some of the issues would be this bar, that black bar. It's called the apron, and sometimes these models without the black bar would be a shiny one. The aprons would sag, which would cause the drum to actually fall and come lower to the bottom. So the shocks are worn out, but I have a system or a trick which I'll show you how to do, and that will actually raise the tub back into its original position, and you don't have to replace the shocks or the suspension rods. Alright, so part of this repair includes the collar. Now these collars, I will post a link to them in the description. In fact, here is the part number. Those should be correct. And so this is the washer. It is on its back. Probably easiest way of getting to the springs, at least the ones in the front. And the way you're going to do it, I will show you on that one. So you want to push this sleeve up and get under it, and you want to put the collar on the shaft on the bottom. Now when the spring comes down, it is now suspended higher. So now the spring will have a longer travel, and it should actually be stiffer. I've done this a few times and it works. Your other option would be to replace the rods, and the cost of those and the labor versus replacing these, scale 1 to 10, that's about a 2, and this is about a 6 or 7. Not difficult, but it requires more work, and the shocks are more expensive as well, and this does a great job. So I'll demonstrate over here how to do it. Pretty straightforward. All right, let's get this one back in. That's that. And basically what it's going to be doing is once they're all installed, your basket will sit just a little bit closer up top, but not enough to cause any friction, because the drum is still heavy enough to pull against the shocks. But once you have water in there, you're going to be in good business. So, all right, or good shape, I should say. All right, guys. So first thing you want to do is get the spring or suspension rod out. So you're going to have to pull down. And the front ones are pretty easy. You're going to slide that up, including the bottom washer. And you're going to get your collar. Tools you'll need. It's very subjective. Allen key will be just fine. These guys, I'm not even sure what size this is, but I'll figure it out for you if you want. You gotta loosen these little screws. Just one should be fine. I like to remove it so you don't lose it. Hopefully you can see. Okay. Now you're gonna open it and you want to insert it or wrap it around. Okay. Now I like to, once you get the screw in, rotate it and put the opposite side of the thread against this. Okay, and it gives it a little bit of protection, so the impact is not on the weakest point, which is where the screw or screws are. Now be careful when you're putting your screw back in, because you could easily drop them down in the machine, and you know, from there on it's history. And buy extras just in case you cross thread or whatever. If you're gonna get 4 of them, get 2 sets just in case there's a problem with, you know, one of them, so you're not totally, you know, set back if there's a problem with one of the threads, or you may drop one, lose one. It's always better to have an extra one laying around anyways. They're pretty cheap. So yeah, like I was saying, just like that, not like that, because then the impact from the machine moving is going to be more evident on that particular side. So just turn it like that. So now all the weight is going to be on this side, which is the strongest point. And you want to snug it. You're going to need a tool. And when you tighten it up, don't go crazy. We were talking about just snugging. Make sure it's tight. And when you tighten them, tighten each side together. Don't over torque one side and then go to the other. Do them together so that it is evenly torqued. And don't over tighten, guys. Just snug. Hard to say, scale 1 to 10, how much you need to snug these. Like a 2 or a 3. Not a 5, not a 7. These threads are very, they're not super strong, but they will hold the weight. I tell you. And that's done. So what's next now is the back. Now the back ones are a little tricky. So we're gonna have to remove them from the back. So they're not fun, I will tell you that. So, but the best way to do it is to remove the bottom, which is on the bottom of the washer, which I'll show you, and then we'll get to it from the bottom. All right. All right, guys. So to get to the back springs, by the way, the suspension rods, they're red. Okay, there are 2 of them. And this is the bottom of the machine. You're gonna have 8 screws. 2, 3, 4 right there. And then on the other side, the same amount. And you're gonna access this the same way as we did. You're gonna pull down, pull that piece out, and just pop them on just like we did on the ones up there. So, all right, I'll probably show you how to do one, and then we'll just put one on, and you just follow that direction. All right, we're gonna snug up now. like I said, guys, don't over tighten them, but snug them to where they're not loose. You don't want them loose and coming off. So, like I said, snug them, but don't over tighten them. All right, don't forget your collar, that white piece. Sometimes it's gonna get hidden. Gotta get that on there. All right. You should hear it snap. There you go. That's it. She's done. So now you have your cover and your screws. All right, guys, we're getting ready to start agitating. If you remember correctly, that motor was sitting on the bottom. Okay. Now we're agitating, touching, nice and quiet. Now, I'm actually using just a hose to fill the washer. It is on extra large, and as soon as the valves are satisfied, they'll turn off. That tells you have enough water in this machine. The pressure switch will turn off. That's extra large. Here it goes. Washer will start to agitate. And you can see the water line. And with clothing, it's going to be way to the top, pretty much. But this is pretty much the max water you should have in this washer. You can see, not touching. So that's a good repair, guys. Save some money, save a service call, save some labor. Thanks for watching.